What is going on, everybody? It's your boy John, and welcome back to Gearbox. So today, we've got an interesting topic for y'all. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it right off the bat. If you're here for a car video, or a truck video, or an aviation video, this is not gonna be the video for you. But what I did want to do today is start to kind of shine some light on something that I went through, and honestly, a lot of people went through last week, which is Hurricane Helene. So as some of you guys may know, maybe you don't, but I'm based here in Greenville, South Carolina. And yes, we are inland in the state. We're basically in the northwest corner of the state of South Carolina. But as you may or may not know, we went ahead and got absolutely hammered by Hurricane Helene. Just to kind of give some further context here, we are about an hour south of Asheville, North Carolina, Chimney Rock, those areas that are basically completely decimated at this point. And the whole reason I wanted to make this video is not to be a pity party for me or for anyone around here, but really to give true, legitimate context as to what happened, because there's a lot of speculation that, the media and this and that are not being super truthful about it. And so here we are to be truthful. So let's, rewind to 2 Fridays ago. Hurricane Helene came in at about, obviously it was storming and stuff for a couple hours prior, but really about 4:30 in the morning in my area is where it really started whipping. We were getting wind gusts, 70, 80 miles an hour, and it was pretty freaking insane. The storms were nuts. As far as thunder, lightning, rain, I want to say we got 9 inches of rain in a 24-hour period. It was some no joke type of stuff. And of course, with all of that storm and damage, we lost power, and trees down, power lines down, mass hysteria in the upstate as far as grocery stores, gas, etc. So we lost power, it was Friday morning. And in my neighborhood, we were actually trapped into our neighborhood for about a day and a half, maybe 2 days max, just with down power lines. If it were just trees, that's one thing. I was out there with a chainsaw, helping some people, doing as much as I possibly could. But, at the end of the day, when there's power lines, very much you can do. So we were trapped in there. Really just kind of making the best out of the situation. Offering up my big green egg to cook some neighbors' food and all that sort of stuff. And honestly, it was a fairly good time. No one got hurt. The house wasn't damaged, anything like that. It was just a good time to really take a step back. No technology, no internet, nothing, to really go out and talk to your neighbor and hang out with folks and just talk and have some conversations. And for that, I think that's the silver lining here. But very quickly, going into Saturday and Sunday, we really started to see the overall damage that this hurricane had done. It was pretty wild. In our area, we had some flooding, but nothing super crazy. Enough to shut down roads and whatever, but it's not like the western North Carolinas of the world where roads and houses were just getting absolutely destroyed. But it was insane. I never thought in a million years that being here in the upstate of South Carolina, I would ever experience anything like that. But here we are, and we're here to tell the story. So really about Sunday is when things started to get really bad from, the people in the area who were running to get gas to power their generators, and people were, there's a gas shortage, so let's fill up every single car and truck that we have. We ended up running out of gas for a short period of time until some trucks could get in and power stuff. But what's tough is, there were only a select few gas stations that actually had power. So even if there were 1,000,001 gas stations, locally, so to speak, only a couple of them have power to be able to pump the gas and be able to read the credit cards and stuff. And so a lot of stuff, especially grocery stores, were taking cash transactions only. And I was lucky enough where I always keep, some amount of cash in multiple different places. And so I was set there. But what ended up happening was so many people would, go to the gas pump or go to the grocery store and start fighting over the gas pump or fighting over a loaf of bread. I mean, people literally lost their lives over shit like that because it was mass hysteria. And in no way, shape, or form am I trying to say this about Greenville, South Carolina and take away from Western North Carolina, because they're two completely different situations. But regardless, I don't think there's been enough, firsthand accounts to explain the actual destruction that happened here. So that's what I'm trying to do. But as time goes on, things start to reach some sort of equilibrium. Of course, the folks running generators are kind of scrambling around. At this point, anyone who doesn't have a generator or anything like that, all the food is done. All the drinks are warm as hell because at this point we're 3 or 4 days without power. So now ice becomes a problem. But once again, you go to a gas station to pick up ice, they're either out of ice or they can't transact any ice bags because they don't have credit cards or credit card processors. So it started to get pretty crazy. I would say about Sunday evening to Monday morning is when I started to feel like, okay, I've got everything that I need. I'm good to go and ride this out for a while. And ultimately ended up getting power back Tuesday morning. But a lot of people in this area, as I'm filming this, still do not have power, still do not have internet. And of course, a lot of the efforts are going to Western North Carolina, where those people lost everything. And to, compound that, we now have Hurricane Milton going into Tampa, Florida, and that's going to take away a lot of resources from the upstate to get us back to normal. Now, all that being said, my greatest appreciation goes out to the law enforcement, the line guys, everyone who has reached out and tried to help in one way, shape, or form, because we would not be where we're at right now without those folks. But unfortunately, we're going to have a long road ahead of us because, there's focuses, and more important focuses, if I do say so myself, elsewhere. And so, yeah, I'm at work this week and we've got everything more or less back to normal, but, we still have people within the company who don't have the power, don't have the internet. They've still got trees through their houses, and a bunch of cleanup that still needs to be done in order to get Greenville, South Carolina back to where we were pre-Hurricane Helene. With all that, I'm fine, my wife is fine, my house is fine, my truck, my cars, everything is fine. And so there's not a whole lot that I can honestly bitch and moan about because we're all safe. But I know that that's not the case for some other people. I mean, we had, I want to say 24, 25 deaths here in Greenville County because of the storm, whether that's trees falling or flooding or whatever. And, it's just crazy to think that this community right here was affected by such a storm, and not only just a storm, but a legitimate hurricane. And the eye of the hurricane went right over top of us. If you live on the coast of South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Louisiana, whatever, hurricanes aren't that big of a deal. Or, I mean, they're a big deal, but you kind of know what to do to prepare for that. No one around here does. This is an unprecedented weather event that I don't think will be topped in a long, long time. in the upstate of South Carolina, and to live through that and be a part of the rebuilding process and just the overall understanding of how much damage this storm actually did is quite eye-opening to me. And you know, the last thing I want to talk about, guys, is the relief effort. There's been a lot of stories about, you know, privately owned helicopters and stuff going up and them getting turned away by the police and FEMA and all that stuff. All of that is true. I went ahead, you know, volunteered at Greenville Aviation, which is where I did my instrument rating, if you've been following along with that. Just fueling up planes, loading planes up, sorting, you know, canned goods, all that sort of stuff, just to do my part to help our brothers and sisters an hour north of us. And I, you know, love to see the camaraderie that went along with that, with all the volunteers. But don't get it twisted. The media, you know, they're not covering that part of it, that people were literally getting turned away for helping. And, you know, I understand part of it, where like some of the helicopters were getting turned away because they don't want it to just be the wild, wild west of people going back and forth and not having a, you know, true plan of action on how to help people. I get that to an extent. But if we're all putting our lives on the line to help rebuild, you know, our areas and our people, how in the hell are you going to turn those people away and threaten to throw them in jail for doing their part as a good citizen? That shit I will never understand. So anyway, guys, I know this has been quite a rambling of conversation in today's video, but it is something that I really, really wanted to touch on because it's important to me. It has directly impacted me. With all that said, you know, I hope that the relief effort continues in North Carolina. I hope that the Hurricane Milton, which I guess will have gone through Florida by the time that I post this video, but I hope that all of that, you know, ends up as good as it possibly could, relatively speaking. But I just wanted to shine some light on what it is that we've actually been dealing with here in Greenville, South Carolina, because I don't think that it's getting enough love from the national media, especially from, you know, government relief efforts and, you know, giving people the money to rebuild their homes and their lives that they've essentially lost based on a hurricane. And that's regardless of your, you know, if you're liberal, if you're conservative, I don't care what it is. You know, this is where we all need to come together as one and be a good human being. And apparently our government is not capable of doing that. So anyway, guys, if you like this video, please give it a big fat thumbs up. I know this is not my typical content, but I'll throw it out there anyway. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. You know the drill. And until next time, peace.